this is Jasmine, and welcome to another Sketchbook Sunday, and this is also another Kattober prompt. So this prompt is Bite, and I thought that I would share with you a little excerpt of a story regarding a character of mine. So if you've followed me for very long, you might know that I have my own world called Seraph. And this is like a world, think on par to Dungeons and Dragons or Lord of the Rings, and it's my own fantasy world that I'm writing up rules for a campaign setting and all that kind of stuff, and it's got a lot of different characters in it. And I just thought that it would be fun to do Seraph story time, since sometimes I read about Dungeons and Dragons stuff. How about I read a bit about my own world? So like I said, this story is written in the format of like an excerpt of a larger story. It isn't technically a larger story, but I thought that it would be fun to write this up to go along with the prompt. So without further ado, let's get into the story, and I hope you enjoy it. Deep in the hinterlands of the evergreen West, far north of the bridge cities of Talm and the shining lakes of Derrinder, villagers speak in whispers of the Frostmine cat. With its great dragon's horns and 3 long tails, it stands as high as the tallest trees and guides winter storms across the taiga. It is said that the giant beast's appetite is so great, snatching moose and caribou as it runs, that if you spare it the first hunt of winter, the Frostmine cat is sure to favor your house above all others as it passes, sheltering your home and family from the vicious highland storms. The common room was silent, save for the gentle crackling of the hearth, which cast a flickering orange light over the wide-eyed faces of 3 children, huddled close together as they listened to Avidius's story. Slowly they began to murmur amongst each other, whispers of things unseen in the night, of fabled creatures, and the nature of great cats. One small voice raised in question, "Is it true, Avidius? Can a cat grow the size of a tree?" Another piped in close behind, "How does it know who spared their hunt?" Smiling kindly, Avidius stroked the snowy white beard that hung to his waist. Good questions all," he said at length. "It is true, no man has yet brought proof of this great beast to their village." Disappointed whispers followed this statement. "But can cats grow to be this large? Why, I think you'll find that the history of Seraph is filled with such great felines, from the fabled golden leopard of Caris to the elusive moor-cats of the south." This caused an explosion of chatter. The excitement of these young villagers to hear of far-off lands and amazing magical beasts was quite contagious, even to one as well-traveled as Avidius. Spreading his aged hands to quiet the children, Avidius leaned forward intently. "I believe," his voice came out, an intense whisper, something conspiratorial, like the beginnings of a mystical adventure. "I believe that the Frostmine cat exists, and I believe that it watches over this very village, and if you listen closely to the howling winter winds, you will hear its padded footsteps." Leaning back in his chair at the hearth, Avidius listened to the children's joyful exclamations and fanciful theories about the Frostmine cat, as he retrieved a long-stemmed pipe from the table. He answered some few of their inquiries, and gently declined telling more stories until they were gathered up by their parents one by one. Issuing quiet thanks for his stories, the inn-workers hustled their children off to bed. The common room was truly silent then, as Avidius rested. He had trekked for many days over many more miles to reach this place, a no-name village in the heart of the frozen forests. It was surprisingly warm and inviting, with good food and better ale. The people were a bit wary at first, to be sure, but they soon had made him an honorary member. Time wore on, and Avidius blew silver rings of smoke as the hearth darkened to embers. The wind outside began to howl, and the shutters, though tightly battened down, rattled with the continued onslaught. The embers died, and Ovidius closed his eyes. Wind whistled across the roof, tree branches crackled and slapped at the wooden buildings, and the distinctive crunch of snow drifted through the night. Letting out a long, deep breath, Ovidius opened his pale blue eyes, still clear and sharp, and pulled his aged body smoothly to its 6-foot height. A long staff assisted him to the entrance of the inn, though he hardly needed its support. As he tugged the heavy wooden door open, a tempest buffeted him, tossing his thick cloak and long hair about, pinning beard to chest, and filling his eyes with snow. But Ovidius Silvermane was no simple traveler, and as he pressed into the storm, he held aloft the staff of solace, that he might move unhindered. Wind died, and Ovidius walked as though the still heart of the storm. Around the side of the inn he found what it was that he sought, what brought him so very, very far from home. Shining yellow eyes peered down at him like twin moons in the sky. Soft fur, the color of snow and birch trees, collected frost and icicles as surely as the drooping branches of nearby deep cedar boughs. And as Ovidius reached his hand up towards the heavens, so the cat lowered its horn-crested head as wide as the door of a barn. Ovidius placed his hand against the animal's muzzle with familiarity. "It is good to see you, old friend." His soft words were whipped away, carried and broken apart in the ferocity of the storm.